In this episode, I'm so excited to share with you one of my favorite people in real estate, Katie Clancy, one of the happiest people in all of real estate, and she's going to share with you some of her best tips, tools, and strategies for how she maximized social media. Hey everybody, Katie Lance here, founder and CEO of Katie Lance Consulting and the Get Social Smart Academy, and author of the book Get Social Smart. It's episode 204, and in this particular episode, we are so excited. We're going to be starting to highlight some of our Get Social Smart Academy members. And in this particular episode, I had the pleasure of interviewing Katie Clancy. She's with the Cape House with William Ravis. She's a top agent, and it is amazing to see how she has built her business using social media and the Get Social Smart Academy over these past few years. So take out a pen, take out a notepad. It's going to be awesome. I know you're going to learn a lot. And here we go, on with the show. Hey everybody, Katie Lance here, founder and CEO of Katie Lance Consulting and the Get Social Smart Academy. And I am so excited for this conversation today. I am chatting with the happiest person in real estate. She really is. Katie Clancy is the founder of the Cape House team. She is an amazing agent and broker, a national speaker. She's the creator of the Cape House show. She's got podcasts in production. She is a mom, a wife, and a very dear friend, and one of our Get Social Smart ambassadors. So Katie, welcome to our conversation today.
Katie, and so, someone calls me Katie 2.0. And I'm like, I'd be like 3.0, 3.09. I don't know if I'd even put myself in your same category, but I do like to tell people that like my real name is like Mary Smith, and I changed it to Katie Clancy so it could be more like Katie Lance because I'm like a super fangirl. That weird? That's weird.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I'm super excited to be chatting with you. I know we are dear friends, so this hopefully will be a fun and easy chat. One of the things we wanted to do, I would say more intentionally, I'm always talking about being intentional. And so one of the things we're looking forward to doing is really shining the spotlight on more of our Academy members. And I thought, well, who best to kind of kick this off with than you, because you are one of our longtime Academy members. I think you were one of our probably first members back in the day. So I want to kind of first start and chat about where you were in your business, kind of paint the picture of where you were before you joined the Academy. And then I would just love for you to kind of talk a little bit about how it's impacted your business and where you are today. So kind of unpack that a little bit.
So it's easy to talk about now because it's past, but before I met you, Katie, I was broke agent. You know, there's an actual broke agent out there. I was that. I was starting from nothing, and I realized that social media was free at the time. Everything about it was free. And it was the channel that I was, all right, I gotta figure this out. And I've been sort of stumbling along, and then I found you. And so I went from being really, I can't express how little money I had. And I leveraged this free resource in a much more purposeful, intentional way because of my influence from you. And I just got off the phone with one of my colleagues, and I am racing to hit 30 million. I've got to put one more piece under contract to hit 30 million in volume this year. Like,
that is awesome.
My partner. I used to pray to hit 5 so I could just pay some bills. Like, wow. And so much of my business is built on what I learned from you.
Oh, that is awesome. That is humbling and awesome to hear. I'm so happy for you. I mean, I just remember having those conversations early on. And I also remember the first few times you got on camera, and I think I remember one of your first videos.
You're making my armpits sweat just thinking about it.
It's definitely an evolution for sure. So I want to just ask you, there's always the question of like, well, is it really worth it? Are you really getting business from social media? And I would just love to hear from you. Like, do you have a sense of how much business you've gotten from not just social media, because I think it's a culmination of a number of things, but social media, the videos you're putting out, all the content you're putting out. Do you have a sense of how much business is coming from that?
That's the eternal question. What's the ROI?
Right.
ROI. I got aside by my manager at one point, and she's like, "Katie, you're doing great. We're like so excited. You're just crushing it and everything." I guess the only feedback I could give you is like, you spend a lot of time on Facebook. This was like 5-8 years ago. I was like, really? You want to see where my business comes from? Do you want to see where these relationships came from? You're telling me all the time, I got to build these relationships. That's what it's all about. Well, that's what I'm doing on Facebook, is building relationships. So how do I measure that? I don't know how you measure it. Lots of anecdotes, but if you also, I actually had did a little chart. Maybe I can share that with you and for later. That just like watched the growth of my business was exponential. You can see the things that I did and committed to along the way. Those things impacted that. So I had exponential growth, and one of the top of the pyramid, or I guess the bottom, the base, is the things that I have, the principles that I've taken away from working with you in the Get Social Smart Academy and all that you bring to us.
That's awesome. Well, like you said, it's not just one thing or another thing. It's I really feel like one of the things you've done really well is like this culmination, of things over the years. So, I'm often chatting with people and agents all over the world. And a lot of times it comes down to,
you're that big a deal.
I don't know about that.
Sorry, I'm like,
it's all good. So the biggest thing I think people always seem to talk to me about is like time. Like, I don't have time for this. I wish I could just like pay someone to do it for me. Like, it just feels like it takes too much time. Like, it feels like it's a big time suck. So can you talk a little bit about like that time piece of it? Like, how much time do you think you spend on it? And just what are your thoughts around?
Well, I'm going to go a little slightly high level on that.
Okay, good.
If people don't realize when they get into this business that you don't have business unless you get business, then this is probably the most important thing that you can do. Everybody can execute on buying and selling houses. That is not hard. It is not complicated. I mean, there's lots of nuance and blah, blah to it. But like, if you don't have any clients to work with, then you'll have all the time in the world.
Very true.
So in your time is your responsibility. I will not accept an excuse like, oh, it takes so much time. No, first of all, one of the pieces that you've given us is it will take exactly as long as you give yourself to do it. Yeah. So that's a big one, like hardcore takeaway that I got from you, but also it's your responsibility to control execution of anything that you're doing, when you do it, how long you spend doing it, and you have the time. I just won't accept that. It's just not true. If you consider, if you're coming into social media as a business building and you're very new to it and you're nervous about it, you're very unsure, but you really want to put it somewhere in your brain, put it in the same place where you put any other relationship building time investment. So the time you spend, and COVID aside, okay, let's just go to traditional, because we'll be back together eventually soon. How much time do you spend going to community events, Rotary meetings, social gatherings, charity balls, whatever? Like it's all, that's all in the same category. So you have the time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like anything, you make the time for things that are important to you. And yeah.
Can I actually finish that? Because I think I might be dancing. People are looking for hard numbers, and I'm just here chastising them for even asking the question. and what I want to say is I time block. And so Wednesdays are my marketing day. So that's when all of my marketing, promotion, creation stuff is prioritized. That's what it happens before other things. Whereas, I Mondays, have a different focus. Tuesdays have another focus. Thursdays have a whole nother focus. Friday is all operations. So that's how I make the time. So sometimes I'll spend 2 hours practically in a row. And on some days I'll only do like a little schniblet in the morning and then maybe a chunk at night after work. But I consciously choose when to do and how long to spend. So there's that.
No, I'd love that you shared that. And schniblet and what was the other word you just used?
Blob.
Those are technical terms, everyone, for everyone listening. No, but seriously, I've seen your schedule, and I am a big believer in time blocking also. I think that's one of the biggest things. I mean, I've tried to execute plans without a schedule, and I've tried to do it with a schedule. It's way easier with a schedule, just blocking out that time. And I think being realistic about it too, I think that makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
So I would love to hear, what do you think are some of the biggest things you learn from being part of the Academy? And I know you've been a member for a long time, but is there, I don't know, maybe one or two big things that really kind of stick out to you that you go,
yes. Oh, without a doubt. So the first is sort of an overall principle, two big overall principles. Done is better than perfect is just my favorite thing that I keep in my mind. And it will take as long as you let it, whatever it is, it will take as long as you let it. Yeah. So those are like the two overarching principles. Some other things that I have taken away that are extremely valuable is the whole organizing of it. That's where, people get overwhelmed with like, how much time is this going to take? Oh my gosh. But if you plan your content and you plan the time that you're going to execute on it, and you understand that you've got to create it, you've got to actually do it, and then you've got to edit and distribute it. Like you understand like the mechanics of it. Most of what I've gotten from you have been big picture things like attitudes, and then organization of how to actually get it done. So just do it. And then here's you've given me things that I'm like, I run away. Like I can't believe resources that it would have taken me forever to come up with on my own. It's not that I'm not capable. Anybody could do what you're doing, but you did it. And then you share it with us, which makes our lives so much easier. So high level stuff, and then organization.
That's awesome. That's great. So, there's lots of platforms out there, right? And I see you on a lot of them. I see you're active on, I know you've got, Facebook personal profile and business page. And you've got a couple Instagram accounts and, YouTube and LinkedIn. There's all these different platforms. Is there a platform that you're really loving right now?
You know what? I'm glad you asked. Because with the election and everything, I got hooked on Twitter for the first time in my life. Nice. Like I'm super into it, but I'm not, I have to say personally, I'm more into it personally, but right now I'm recognizing that I am organically just because I happen to be hanging out there, organically growing my brand there. And it's fascinating to me because it's not contrived at all. And I'm really interested to see where that goes. So I've got a growing edge on Twitter. But I would say Instagram is my bread and butter. Facebook used to be, but that's changing a little bit, but it's still got a role. Yeah. And I'm never on Pinterest. And all my videos go to YouTube. Like all my videos go to YouTube, but I'm still not maximizing that in any way, shape, or form. It's still right now where I'm parking stuff. I have a lot to learn.
That's okay. Well, and I think you're a really good example of like, you do one thing, you kind of master that. And then I've seen you do this over the years. It's like, okay, now you're ready for this, now you're ready for that. But I don't think I think one thing you've done really well is you haven't been like, well, I got to wait till I get it all together, and I think that's probably part of you taking in the whole done is better than perfect and just diving in.
I got some really rich B-roll for you if you want for this episode. My first episode of the Cape House show, my graphics were a notebook.
I remember that. I remember that. And it works, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, you have to start. That was the gift.
Absolutely. So another question I have for you, what do you think is your biggest lesson learned or like the biggest mistake that you've made in this journey of social media content, marketing, all this good stuff we're talking about?
Lesson or mistake? I make mistakes all the time, honestly. I mean, like technical mistakes left and right. As we're talking, you're hearing a huge echo on my end because I messed up my microphone. I have this gorgeous microphone there. Can't make it connect. Don't know what's going on. Rolling with it anyway. Like that, because done
is better than perfect.
So, and that's real.
Yeah.
Biggest lesson with social was I had to get, like, I still to this day have to work on disabusing myself of the thought that this is fluff. Even I notice I have my own bias. I'm like, this is too fun for it to be meaningful. As I'm cashing my checks, I'm like,
Right.
There's no real connection. It can't be. This is just entertainment for me. Meanwhile, people are like, oh my God, I love your video. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my gosh, you're the one who does the blah, blah, blah. Oh, I saw you on such and such. And I'm like, there might be something to this.
Maybe it's not all fluff.
It's definitely not. Without a doubt, there's an absolute science to it. You introduced me also to Gary Vaynerchuk, who has really helped my my perspective on all of that. And do you remember, I'm sure you do, a few years ago, you were like, I have all these great books that have served me so well, but I'm going to pass them on. And I didn't know you. I don't know if you knew me. And I was like, one of Katie's books? It must have magic on it. Me. I want one. You sent me a Gary Vee book, the Crush It book.
Yes, I remember that.
That was the beginning of my Gary Vee exposure, which has been a nice combo, the two of you together for social.
Well, and I think we all kind of believe in that philosophy that he talks about. I love his book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, and I think you really exemplify that, this idea of give and you give and you give, and then you ask. It's not sell. I have got a new listing. I've got a new open house. It's that's one of the things I really see from you is you come from a place of value. And so when it is time to promote that
might be something. The thing. Yeah, that might be the thing, Katie, because you reinforced that. You were like, this is how it works. And Gary did the same thing where, and then like the whole world opens up because it's so easy to give. Do you want me to tell you where to eat tonight? Do you want to find out about the greatest preschools? Do you want to go watch the high school cross country team go win a race? Do you want? Well, I can do that all day long, and then people really respond to that, and then it's so easy to be like, "Did you know that I do real estate?" And they call you up. It just happens. It happened last week, actually, to someone I have not spoken to in person in 20 years, but went to high school with, is still local. And when came time for them to list, the husband calls me up. I'm like, who's this? And then he told me who his wife was. I thought, are you kidding? The only way she knows me is from social. And I never asked her for anything.
That's awesome. See, there you go. Well, yeah. That is a great place to probably come to an end of our conversation, although I know we could talk even longer. So for people who want to connect with you, Katie, I know you're all over, but what are maybe one or two places that people can connect with you?
Find me on Instagram. My personal is @HellYeahBacon, yeah, with an H. I contemplated changing it when I became more professional, and I changed my mind because that is me.
Yeah.
And my work, my real estate is at the Cape House. And I would love to invite you all to come and listen to the Happiest Person in Real Estate podcast, season 1.2. You know why? Because season 1 wasn't perfect, but it got done. And I have refined. I'm a little bit more organized now. So I'd love for you to come and see me there because you need to be happy. You can be happy. This could be the happiest industry in the world if we all got together and tried.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Well, Katie, thank you so much for being on here today. I so appreciate it. This is so much fun. You are definitely the happiest person in real estate, for sure. And for everyone who's listening to this, we would love to hear from you. What are your biggest questions when it comes to social media? Leave us a comment below. And if you're watching this over on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell button because we have new episodes that come out each and every week. And we are going to be starting to highlight more and more awesome people just like Katie Clancy. So Katie, thank you again so much.
Thank you so much. What a privilege. I enjoyed it.